Hi guys, welcome to another video. Talk about synchronicity. Got a bit of something for you here for you to look at. So I need to put my eyes on for this. I've done a video on this a couple of days ago, or a little while ago, about things what to and not to say to people. So my lovely Sam is here with me. You've never been introduced, have you, Sam? Come here. Let me just introduce you. Oh, come up here, buddy. This is my Sam, who's probably kept me alive more than most. He's just the best boy in the house, and yeah, sorry, I will get on to what I wanted to talk about, but I wanted to introduce you to my best friend. So, go on, down you get, bud. Right, I've done a video on this a little while ago, so I've got hair all over me now. I was at a meeting, more of a bereavement session together, you know, a support group, if you like, run by a very lovely person who runs a funeral directors in Brighton. So after this session, they gave us, there was about, I don't know, there's quite a few, there's about 15 of us there, gave us this piece of paper with some words on it that I wanted to share with you. Sam's just doing his bit. How to support someone who is grieving. I've done a video on this, but they want some feedback, and so basically I was going to ask you guys to give me some feedback so I can give it back to them. So I need to put my eyes on. Death is one of the most difficult life events. When a person loses someone they love, it can have a devastating effect on their life, their physical and mental health, their emotional well-being. This can be temporary change. This can be a temporary change, or it can last for years or maybe forever. One thing that can make a real difference is support that the person gets in the short, medium and long term. This support will eventually come from friends and family members. It may come from professionals involved in the grieving person's life, but the most important help will be from the people who are closest to them, who may also have known the person who died. The people that knew me and Carol have all buggered off, to be honest with you. I'd love to put it in a nicer way, but even people that we know very, very well together as a couple have just up and left. I mean, is that your experience? Have you experienced the same? And it's something that we spoke about in the support group, but everybody there has experienced the same sort of thing. Because people just seem very uncomfortable with someone else's grief. And that's the last thing somebody that's grieving wants or needs, is that distance from people that are safe for them, that knew their dead person, that is able to talk about their dead person with them. So at this funeral directors, they've worked with grieving people for many years and also hold a support group for people who have suffered the death of a loved one. From talking to people, we felt there was more help needed in supporting friends and family to care for grieving people. Our experience shows that people can be fearful of bringing up the subject of death or talking about the person who has died in case it upsets the grieving person. There are so many reasons why this may be difficult to include cultural norms or perhaps the way the person died, but what we do know is that it can be quite lonely facing this on your own. Gentle support and an acknowledgement of what the person is going through can make such a difference. Here's what we think can help. So before I go into those, one thing that I love talking about is Carol. I love talking about her. I love talking about her to people that knew her. So if you know somebody that's grieving, talk about them. Talk about the person that they've lost, because it will reinforce in the grieving person's mind your acknowledgement of their pain and your acknowledgement of their loss, and that you actually remember the person that died with them. And that is a fantastic help to somebody that's lost somebody. So firstly, if you've not experienced the death of someone close, then gaining an understanding of what that person may be going through is a good start. Let's say that person you are supporting is your friend. Your friend may feel a number of things immediately after a death. Shock. To me, shock. I'm still in shock, really. It's nearly 7 months. It'll be 7 months in just over a week. And I'm still in shock that Carol isn't here with me. Every morning I still wake up and feel disbelief that this is how my life is. So yeah, shock. It goes on to say, even if the death was expected, it may take your friend a long time to grasp what has happened. The shock can make your friend numb, and some people first carry on as if nothing has happened. It's hard to believe that someone important is not coming back. Many people feel disorientated, as if they've lost their place and purpose in life, or living in a different world. That's how I feel. I mean, this place now feels completely alien to me. And so, am I living in a different world? Well, I am living in a different world, because my world always included Carol. We were a double act, and we were together for so long, and now she's not here. My world is completely different. Pain. Feelings of pain and distress follow bereavement can be overwhelming and very frightening. That's true. Pain is different. You got, oh, ow, that hurts, my shoulder hurts, or I've got a headache, or my hand hurts. With this kind of pain, you can't touch it, you can't show anyone where it is, you can't even explain how it feels to be in pain like this. So be aware that this person is in severe pain. Anger. Sometimes bereaved people can feel angry. This anger is a completely natural emotion, typical of the grieving process. Death can seem cruel and unfair, especially if your friend feels someone has died before their time, or when they had plans for the future together. They may also feel angry towards the person who has died, or angry at themselves for things they did or did not do or say to the person before their death. They may just feel angry that they are seemingly out of control of their emotions and in their life suddenly. I've never felt anger towards Carol for not being here. I felt angry towards a certain person that contributed very much to Carol's demise. And I'm going to go through that in a different video with something, the title along the lines of being with a narcissist, because a narcissist took my wife's life basically, and I'm not going to go into detail because because I just won't, but I don't feel angry at Carol's death. I don't feel angry. I feel cheated because we had so many plans together. We had so many plans to travel and to grow old together. You know, we would see old people walking along the seafront, and we would say, you know, that's going to be us one day. And of course now that's not. But I'm only angry at the way that what happened, not necessarily about her actually going. Maybe that'll be something that comes later. I'm not too sure. Anger. Done that. Guilt. Guilt is another common reaction. People who have been bereaved or someone close often say they feel directly or indirectly to blame for the person's death. Your friend may also feel guilt if they have a difficult or confusing relationship with the person who has died, or if they feel they didn't do enough to help them when they were alive. That does relate to me. I do feel guilt because I should have separated Carol from said narcissist. But the truth of the matter is I didn't know. I didn't know what was going on, and the guilt is extreme sometimes because I should have done more. But hindsight's a great thing, you know, because I didn't know what was going on behind the scenes, behind it all. Next one, depression. Many bereaved people experience feelings of depression following the death of someone close. Life can feel like it no longer holds any meaning, and some people say they too want to die. I in total relate. I'm in touch with that emotion completely. The only reason that I'm still here is because I have children, and I'm not going to leave them. I've seen what happened to them when their mum passed, and I'm not going to do that to them. But the longing to not be here anymore is tangible. It's very real. I finally plucked up the courage to go to the doctors last week, and as I walked through the door, the doctor looked at me and said, "I thought I'd see you long before now," and was diagnosed, and I know they're only labels, but I was diagnosed with depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, complex grief, which I had no idea what that was until now, and adjustment disorder, which again is just a label. I find it hard to adjust to what's happened to me and my family. So yeah, depression is a big thing. The feeling of really not wanting to be here anymore, and as I said, if it wasn't for the kids I wouldn't be. So bless them, because I love them dearly. A longing. Thinking that they are hearing or seeing someone who has died is a common experience and can happen and can happen when one least expects it. Your friend may find that they can't stop thinking about the events leading up to the death. Seeing the person who has died and hearing their voice can happen because the brain is trying to process the death and acknowledge the finality of it. So you are left trying to navigate around these emotions. Sometimes it may feel easiest to just avoid the subject altogether, understanding that the person may feel some of these feelings at any one time and in any order can help you approach them. Me and Carol were, as I say, together 30 years, and we would always say to each other, we would let each other know. If I was to go first, then I would find a way of letting her know that I was safe and I was okay, and she would do the same. I've not had that experience as yet, but I do know of an afterlife. I do know that this isn't the be-all and end-all. After my near-death experience, I understand that we are just having this experience, and it's a cliche, isn't it, that we're a spirit having a human experience, but it's very, very true. And I know Carol does still exist, and she's not found a way to communicate or let me know. I've not seen her or heard her, but I have had songs on my playlist that aren't on my playlist come through when I've needed them the most, and these songs I haven't heard for many years, but are just what I wanted to hear at that time. And so I have actually, in that way, Carol has communicated with me. So, but as for actually longing to see, of course I long to see her. Of course I long to hear her. Of course I long for that contact. But I'm just going to have to wait until it's my turn. So, really, all in all, people who have been bereaved may or may not want to talk about the person who has died, but it's good to have that choice. And it is. when you meet someone that's bereft, ask them, say, do you want to talk about her? Do you want to talk about him? Do you want to talk about them? Because I bet you 9 out of 10 times they'll jump at that chance and go, yeah, I'd love to. One of the most helpful things you can do is simply listen and give them time and space to grieve, offering specific practical help but not vague general offers can also be very helpful. Specific help, practical help can be helpful, but generally people give general offers of, if there's anything I can do. I've heard that so many times, is don't forget where I am, if there's anything I can do, just pick up the phone. And the person that's grieving, I'm speaking from personal experience, I don't know how to do stuff myself, so for me to ask you to do stuff for me is completely impossible. So again, I've gone back to another video. I'll put a link to that underneath somewhere, just to what to do, take the initiative, and not to offer general advice, general practical help, general help, because it just generally people who are grieving have no idea. So do's. What have they put here? Do's. Be there for the person who is grieving. Pick up the phone, write a letter or an email, call, buy or arrange to visit. That is absolutely paramount. If someone was to phone me and say, Mark, do you want to meet up for a drink? Do you want to meet up for a coffee? Do you want to, come on tonight, let's go. Brilliant, thank you so much. I'd love that. Instead of maybe next week we can get together, I'll let you know. That doesn't really help. Accept that everyone grieves in their own way. There is no normal way, of course. I mean, I've spent quite a bit of time with people that are grieving in these support groups, and none of us are grieving the same. Some of us are barely holding it together. Some of us look as if there's nothing wrong with them, and yet they're really extremely broken. So there are no two grievances. There are no two people that grieve the same way. Encourage the person to talk, which is also very good, especially about what they're going through, because and listen to that person. Create an environment in which the bereaved person can be themselves and show their feelings rather than to have to put up a front. That is, people that are grieving, I'm so tired and sick and tired of trying not to be upset, of trying not to be that way, because it makes people uncomfortable. So allowing me to be, or allowing a grieving person to be the way they want to be in a comfortable environment is great. Be aware that grief can take a long time. A lot of people feel that support is there in the immediate time after the death, but that can disappear and you are left on your own. That's so very true. When Carol passed, between the time of Carol passing away and after the funeral, which was about 3 weeks, our house was full. The house was full. The phone didn't stop ringing. The doorbell was always going. I was always getting messages on social media, and it was nice because I had the funeral to arrange and all that, which keeps you going, keeps you busy, gives you purpose. You have people with you. You have people helping you. But for me personally, you see, the day after the funeral, the door stopped knocking, the phone stopped ringing, and the house was empty completely the day after the funeral, and that hurts a lot. So, it was for me. It was not so much me. I'm a big boy, I can take it. My kids got a lot of empty promises. I promised I'm going to do this for you guys, I'm going to do that, I'm going to help here, you're not going to be on your own, you'll have a woman figure in your life, you'll be able to come and talk to me, you'll be able to you'll be able to, I'll reach out to you all the time, and nothing, just empty promises, and that broke my children's hearts, and broke my heart to see that happen, and has made them wary which is a shame, because people had great intentions and said some lovely things and promised some wonderful times, and yet it all came down to nothing. So if you say you're going to do something to a grieving person, it really does mean a lot to them if you do that thing, regardless of what it is. Because when you don't, it just hurts a little bit more. So yeah, if you say, listen, next week I'll be in contact and we'll do this, then get in contact next week, because a grieving person is broken, and a broken person doesn't really know how to react, and doesn't even know what day it is. There are days I get up and I have no idea what day it is, and so for me to go, oh, such and such said this and it's Wednesday today, maybe I'll ring them. The grieving person doesn't know even what day it is. So if you're going to do something and say you're going to do it, please do. Mention useful support agencies such as Cruse Bereavement Care, also many hospices offers counselling and group support after death, and offer useful practical help. Yeah, Cruse Bereavement, I go to Cruse and they're very good, are very understanding, and the support group I look forward. So unfortunately it's only once a month. If they were doing it every day, I'd go every day, because I feel stronger when I come out of a support group that with people that know what they're doing, know what they're talking about. And so yeah, find help, or get help for that person, because that person may not have the strength to get help for themselves. So things that you shouldn't do. Right. Avoid someone who has been bereaved. Wow. And I understand how uncomfortable people feel, but people avoid me like the plague. Like they're going to catch sad. They're going to catch my sad, but they do. They avoid me. They see me coming across the road. They see me coming and go back in their house. They see my car drive up and they'll shut the door. I see it all the time. People cross the road to avoid me, and it's not that I'm walking around with a tissue in my hand, blubbing on their shoulder. But please don't avoid people. People who are grieving need people. Use cliches such as, I understand how you feel, you'll get over it, time heals. Right, I understand how you feel. The chances are, if you haven't been through this, then you have absolutely no idea how I feel or how they feel, because I didn't. Right? I didn't understand it at all. So unless you actually do, then don't say it. And even if you do, don't say it, because everybody grieves differently. I lost my wife, and my grief will be different from somebody that's lost their mother. And so to turn around to say how I understand how you feel, I would probably be lying, because no two grieves are the same. You'll get over it. No, you won't. You won't get over it. If somebody's watching this who is grieving now, I have some bad news for you. You're not going to get over it. You'll learn to live with it, but you won't get over it. And why would you want to get over it? This grief is something that I hold on to in a way because it's all I have left of Carol, but it's something that I will learn to live with, not get over. And time heals. No, it doesn't. Time doesn't heal at all. I'll never heal from this. I will always have a scar. At the moment it's a festering wound, and it will turn into a scar, but there is an old saying, and I can't remember who said this saying, that a scar is where the light comes in. And so that's what this scar will do, let it light in, but it will never ever heal. Don't tell them it's time to move on. They should be over it. How long a person needs to grieve is entirely individual, and it is completely individual. But to move on is, I can't tell you how wrong that is. You tell someone to move on, you're putting their life with that person, you're putting their love that they had, their life that they shared together, all their love and their dreams and their hopes and their fears in a little box, and you should move away from it. I'll never move on. I will move forward, and I will see. Moving on, you're moving away without that person. I'll move forward with Carol. Carol made me the person that I am now, sat here talking to you. If I move away from that, then I lose all of what I am, whatever that is. So moving forward with that person, not moving on or moving on away from that person. Be alarmed if the bereaved person doesn't want to talk or demonstrate anger. I've not had that yet. People say, you should be angry. Get angry. Let's go and smash some plates. Get down the gym and throw some weights around. And I've not had that. But not everybody wants to be angry. Underestimate how emotionally draining it can be when supporting a grieving person, and do make sure you take care of yourself too, which is paramount, because it is. You're with a person that is sucking the energy from you, if you like, to try and make them feel good, and they're not doing it on purpose. So if you are spending time with a grieving person, make sure you have time for yourself to recharge the batteries, and understand that when you walk away from the grieving person, you may feel drained, upset and what have you, but they don't mean you any harm. They really don't. So really, to conclude what they put here, understanding why this can seem hard to do can go some way to alleviating the awkwardness. Seeing our friends and family members upset can be difficult for us and potentially embarrassing for them. So it may be that going for a walk with a person so that you aren't face to face with them, so that silences are easier to cope with, could be a good thing to do. That is good, because silence, people think that they have to fill the silence when there's no need to fill the silence. The silence is absolutely fine. Making direct eye contact with someone can put the person on the spot to come up with answers of how they are feeling when they are really none. The person is dead and they are just missing them terribly. And that's true. I do find at the moment my self-esteem is very low, so looking into people's eyes when talking to them, I'm always doing this, I'm looking left or right, up or down, and that can be quite off-putting for some people, because they're like, why aren't they looking at me in the eye? They must be hiding something. It's not that. This isn't something that we can put right. There are no answers, just gentle support and kindness. That's what's needed. And I've been there as well, where people have gone, right, well, you need to do that, you need to do this, you need to put this right now, we need some practical steps, and that isn't what the person that's grieving wants to hear. They just want to be with you, if that's okay, and cry with you and laugh with you. They don't need necessarily practical answers of how to get over this, because that's not going to happen. So in summary, a lot of the time is the thought of getting it horribly wrong that stops us offering support in the first place. You can't get it wrong. There is no right. So if you was to turn around and say someone to me, oh look, don't worry about it, you're still young, you can remarry, that would be wrong. And if I slapped you in the jaw, then expect it. So don't ever say that. But people aren't that insensitive, are they? Oh, hello Sam, you're back again. Your friend or family member will need support during this time. Just asking questions, listening or being there for them will go a long way, and your relationship with them will be deeper and more trusting because of it. Not exactly sure what happened there, camera cut off, so I'm just finishing it off here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, mate.